Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we discover the one use for Everybody 1-2 Switch. I am much too busy to talk to a stranger, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society is too busy to talk to a stranger with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, and then on Thursday, we're coming up with gifts for our favorite Nintendo mothers, just in time for Mother's Day. But Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. We are now like T-minus 1 month away from the Nintendo Switch 2 releasing.
That's right. Is that how that turn of phrase works when you are T-minus 1 month?
Yes.
I don't think you say away, right? 'Cause T is time, time that something happens.
Okay.
So we are currently
T-minus 1 month from.
I think we're just T-minus 1 month. I don't know.
How would you end that sentence then? T-minus 1 month Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, you're right. So yes. Maybe
there has to be. I mean, maybe you'd restructure the sentence.
Yes.
Maybe you'd say Nintendo Switch 2 launches in T-minus 1 month.
Yeah, I think that's probably how it has to work.
Yeah. Copy editing ourselves live for your pleasure.
And that was pedantic and rude. No, but like it is one of those things where like we use it's a turn of phrase that we like all kind of
sure. Yeah.
The way we speak, and I'm like, are we using it? Are we using it right?
Well, I think a good rule of thumb when I'm talking is that no. The answer is probably not.
Good rule of thumb is, am I using this right? No. I was watching an episode of The Simpsons. Now Disney Plus has the thing where you can just turn on like a live channel that is just they run The Simpsons nonstop.
I love how simple all of these platforms have made us to just turn it on. You know, it's like I don't even have to think.
That's right. And it's a mixed blessing with an All Simpsons channel because it's like 75% stuff you don't want to watch.
Do they do it chronologically,
yes.
or is it just interesting?
Yeah. So like there's no like preference towards like one era over the other. It's just straight through and then it loops around.
But how long would it take for it to loop? Because are they running like
like nonstop?
No, sorry, but I mean like I guess you're right. So 24 hours a day, even if there's like 35 seasons.
I mean it just got renewed for up to the 40th season.
Wow.
So yeah. Anyway, there's an episode where there's a curfew in Springfield. And so the kids have to be home by dark, and they like have a plan to reveal all of the adults' secrets, and they do it with this like Children of the Corn kind of like scary voice thing over the radio. And then the old people in the town vote for a curfew for everyone under 70, so even the adults also have to go. So, but anyway, at the end of the episode, they're like sitting watching TV. And Homer's like, I can't believe that passed. And Lisa says, I told you senior citizens always vote in record numbers. And I was like, always in record numbers? That's not how these two idioms work, right? If it's a record, it can't always be a record.
Right, because every election, they would have to be voting in record numbers.
But saying that something is happening in record numbers is just a common way to express in a big way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it, it's just, I'm like tuning my ears to these things that we say. That it's like, do we mean that? And I'm sure I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else.
Good thing we have like hundreds of hours of us recording ourselves talking that somebody could parse through.
And the good news is we're never going to review that.
We can't remember what we said ever.
That's right. I forget the setup to this sentence. If you would like to support us, you can go to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if you are doing so at the 8-bit or 16-bit levels, you get access to our once a month episodes of miniseries like NCS Arcade.
Yes, where Patrick and I are playing games that we've mostly never beaten before. And for the month of April, we played Okami, and we're going to be talking about that very soon. And I know, based on some discussion in the Discord, that there are some people that are also playing Okami. I'm getting ready for that discussion. So
yes, very excited.
Thank you for playing along. And just to let you know, we are going to record it, I believe, this coming weekend.
Yes.
And so look for that very soon.
Yeah, very excited to talk about Okami with you. I am. I don't know if I'm going to finish the game.
Hey, totally fair.
I'm aiming for it, but I don't know. It is around every turn. I'm like, oh, this little section right here is way longer than I thought it was going to be, and that just seems to be like everything I uncover in that game is like 10 more branching paths of like things that I have to do to progress. But yeah, so check that out. We will be doing a free listener feedback episode where anyone can write into us at Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com
with their thoughts, with their questions, with their opinions, with their conspiracy theories about Okami, and we are going to fold those into an episode that anyone can listen to as long as you are following us on Patreon, even at the free level. So get those into us, and we will incorporate those into that episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, email us so that you can get in the Discord. Just email us. I'll send you an invitation. It's super easy and fun. The other thing, Mark, that people can use our email for, Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com,
is sending us questions for our 866 episode. Mark, what is this?
Yeah, so, of course, every news episode, we take a little break from talking about Nintendo for 433, where we talk about something not at all Nintendo related, for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And in 2021, for our 433rd episode, we did an episode entirely where we answered listener questions sent in by you that were not about Nintendo. So you could ask us about anything, and we would
don't give examples.
Yeah.
That's what we're asking for.
Exactly. So we are going, as we approach our 866th episode, we are going to do another episode where that we are answering your questions. But in order for that to be a success, we need you to send questions in.
Yes, thank you to everyone who has sent in questions already. We've been getting a good little selection of them, but keep them coming, like with the more the merrier, and the more we have to choose from, I think the better the... All right, Mark, you ready to talk about what we've been playing this week?
Let's do it.
Okami, we're both playing it. We can't talk about it.
Yeah, I did finish it.
Oh, you did?
I finished.
Congratulations.
I have finished Okami.
Do you have how many hours?
It took me just under 20, but I was just like shotgunning the campaign. So I was just going from point to point to move forward as quickly as possible. And so yeah, it was like 19 hours and 45 minutes, I think, was my final save file.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm about halfway through that then. But I probably won't. I don't know how to mainline this game. And whatever, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it
when we when we talk about it. But otherwise, you know what? We have both been playing some Game Boy Advance games. But I also just wanted to briefly touch on Pikmin Bloom, which I know like you're tapped back into for a second, and that like I continue to play because the special decorative Pikmin for the month of May are like classic Nintendo things.
And was this what it was last year too?
No, I think it was like cards maybe. I don't know.
But like, is this brand new? Did you previously have any Nintendo Classic Pikmin?
Huh.
Okay, so it must be new for this year. But yeah, you're right. I was out, then they pulled me back in.
Right.
With this classic Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, I get so excited when I get a Pikmin that like has a little Game & Watch or a Famicom controller. Like, it's just so exactly what I want from a celebration of Nintendo things. So I'm very happy to be doing that. I didn't get all of the decor Pikmin for last month, maybe even the month before too. Last month was like a tea set Pikmin. I think there were 2 or 3 of them I didn't get, but I absolutely need to get all of the classic Nintendo ones.
I think you were joking about it in the Discord, but are there Virtual Boy ones?
Oh no,
is Virtual Boy represented?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I did get a Game & Watch one, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is very exciting. But Mark, what have you been playing?
So I have started Wario Land 4 for mysterious reasons that will be revealed.
We be talking about it here?
But yes, I've started Wario Land 4. I honestly think, other than Wario Land Shake It, or Shake Dimension, depending on where you're living, for the Wii, I don't know that I've ever played a Wario Land game before. I think that might be the only one.
Not even the first one on Game Boy?
Mario Land 3?
Yes.
No, I don't think I ever did, because I didn't.
Now, let's see if we remember.
Hi.
Is it Wario Land : Super Mario Land 3?
No, because I think our minds were blown not that long ago when we actually looked it up, and I believe it is in fact Mario Land 3 :
Super Mario Land 3 : Wario Land.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
I was right?
Yes, you are right. Okay.
Because it's Super Mario World 2 : Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, and that is not the case here. So our minds must have been blown in the opposite direction, or maybe our minds were blown about something not Wario Land related. The important thing,
yes,
is that, let's lock this down.
Right.
Wario Land : Super Mario Land 3 is the correct nomenclature for this game.
It follows the Zoda's Revenge : Star Tropics 2 formula.
Yes.
Okay, good. And sort of Emio the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club.
Sort of, yeah, except they use like a M dash instead of a colon.
But the where is the M dash in Emio? Is it Emio M dash the Smiling Man, or Emio : the Smiling Man M dash? Mark is frantically typing.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
No, that can't be right.
What do you think it is?
When I look up Emio the Smiling Man,
yeah,
the first thing that pops up is the Smiling Man : Famicom Detective Club. But there's no way that's right. That is not the true name of the game. The true name of the game is Emio M dash the Smiling Man : Famicom Detective Club for Nintendo Switch.
The Emio M dash the Smiling Man : Famicom Detective Club game for Nintendo Switch.
Pokemon Day is February 27th.
Dominic Monaghan's character,
is Beaumont-Kin, and Shinya Takahashi is the host of Nintendo Directs recently. Of course, now that's not true anymore. Wario Land.
We need to do a hard reset.
Yeah. All of this is to say
you're playing it.
That I am playing Wario Land 4. No, I don't believe I ever played Wario Land : Super Mario Land 3.
Yes, very good.
Because I didn't own any Mario Land games at all for the Game Boy.
Okay.
And so it's a we're going to be talking about.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll be talking about it in the future on the Patreon. But they're weird games.
They are weird games. That is absolutely true. Mark, I started playing last night. Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones, recently added to the Game Boy Advance. And I realized that I had it confused with the other Fire Emblem game on Game Boy Advance. That's the one that's got like the 3 protagonists. Sacred Stones has sort of a dual protagonist, like Prince and Princess, that are both like, she's a little bit of like a war refugee at the beginning of the game. I love the moment in every Fire Emblem game where it's like, here's the continent. Are you ready to hear about 6 kingdoms? And you're like, oh, I don't know. And you're like, here we go. Are you ready also for the Mercantile Kingdom? No, it's too confusing. But I'm maybe 5 chapters into it right now. And man, just a classic Fire Emblem game. Tough to beat, just like the moment-to-moment gameplay of one of those things. And like, I'll probably fall off of it, but like, while you're playing them, they're just so fun.
Remind me, is Sacred Stones the first one that was released in North America?
No.
Or is that the other Game Boy Advance one?
Game Boy Advance one, right. And then there's a sequel to that Game Boy Advance game that is the one that was not released in the US.
When I played Three Houses was the first Fire Emblem that I ever played, and by that point, Fire Emblem had become nice. Like you could turn on, you could turn off permadeath. You could rewind, moves and missions and all that kind of stuff. So, what is it like playing Sacred Stones where there aren't? I mean, you can obviously now save scum and like all that kind of stuff using the Nintendo Switch Online features, but the game itself doesn't have any of those niceties, right?
Yeah, it doesn't, but like I'm also early enough in the game that I've not hit a point where like I think I'm even in danger of one of my characters dying in a fight. So like yeah, it's not been bad or challenging or anything like that so far. And I guess I will just report back when it is. I imagine I'll take advantage of some of the rewinding. But like the fact that you can only rewind, 30 seconds. Sometimes a match of, what do you even call them? Like a battle in Fire Emblem can last for like 35 minutes, and you made a mistake in the first 35 minutes. So I'll probably just have to like make use of save states.
How are you feeling about the characters? Because I feel like one of the things about wanting to turn off permadeath is that you like the characters and want them to stay in your party.
Yeah, and that remains true. That like every new character you meet has like a fun like little personality or like a dynamic with another character that you're meeting at the same time. And they do such a good job in Fire Emblem games of like very efficiently characterizing everyone, so like what their deal is, right? And they may not be on like a deep or complex arc, but everyone is like an understandable archetype that's easy to project onto and like quickly develop feelings for and be like, I don't want that guy to die. And that's where I am right now. I can't like shout out any of them in particular. A lot of them are just like, oh, I recognize that like that guy is he uses axes and like his dad is over here. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it right now. All right, Mark, that's what we've been playing. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
So Nintendo threw us a little bit of a curveball with Nintendo Music releases last week, because normally we get an update like Monday night Pacific time, and we didn't. But then on Wednesday, we got a whole ton of tracks from Mario Kart 7.
Yeah, and this is another one of those like instances where we already have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on here, right? And then they're like, oh, here's Mario Kart 7, which is like it's not the same music, but like, I don't know, it's like the same spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially I haven't listened to this at all. Mario Kart 7, I have never played, and so I'm not familiar with the music at all. But other than when it showed up in 8 with like remade tracks,
right. And then of course it means that we did not get any update to the Nintendo Music app to this week.
Yeah, that's right. But maybe it's still the end of holidays in Japan or something, and we will see. Maybe we'll see an update later this week, like we did last week. Also, if any listeners have suggestions for tracks that I should check out, like music tracks I should check out in Mario Kart 7, let me know.
Yeah,
what are some good ones?
Mark, no. This was posed in our Discord. Here we are now 6 months into the Nintendo Music app's life. How do you feel the service has gone so far, Mark? How do you feel about it in general?
Yeah, I still am glad that it exists, and I will occasionally click into it, but I don't find myself listening to it that much. I still rely mostly on YouTube, like curated playlists for video game stuff, because there isn't really a video game soundtrack that I want to listen to from start to finish.
Right.
It's mostly like a selection of tracks that I'm interested in, from like specific games, and I don't really want to be like going through trying to curate for myself. And
right.
Some of their playlists I think are okay, but I generally speaking like am not crazy about most of them, and so occasionally I'll go in, especially when there's a new update, and I'll be reminded that Kirby and the Forgotten Land is in there, or some of the tracks anyways. You know what I mean? Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm glad it exists, but I it's not my primary go-to if I want to listen to Nintendo music. How about you?
Yeah, I mean that's also kind of where I am with it. I am finding it like increasingly a bummer that it's not uh that there isn't also like a web-based version of it, or that I could do on like my computer at work, or whatever. Like there are just like the a few tiny little hurdles, and I know we've like mentioned stuff like this before, but like the fact that it immediately hijacks the volume the second you like open the app, so you could be listening to a podcast. And then you open the Nintendo Music, and it pauses your podcast. And you're like, I haven't even asked you to play something yet. So just like little things like that, where I'm like, there are just tiny little roadblocks that keep me from using it. And then, like you say, the rewards of using it are like kind of minimal. There's maybe 10% of the music that's on there that I actually want to listen to, and I can't predict like the circumstances where I'm going to want like. Am I going to go in there and listen to like a battle themes playlist? Like, no, that sounds horrible.
Right.
Right?
This does it does seem a little bit like give a mouse a cookie type situation.
Right.
Because
we did ask for this.
we did ask for this, and then they gave it to us.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, yeah, I don't know. Could be better.
Why can't this all just be on Spotify? Not actually what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
oh yes. Let's see. Other new releases. You have highlighted High on Life releasing today.
Yeah,
digitally on Switch.
That's right. So High on Life was that from Justin Roiland's company that I'm sure he's no longer like actually a part of. The Rick and Morty team, their Squanch games. This is the first person shooter where the guns talk to you. And they're all like the guns are weird little aliens that talk to you. One of the voices is Betsy Sidaro, who I know we both like. It's this game looked rough when it was running in the Nintendo Direct before the Switch 2 Direct. But hey, comes out on Switch today.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it.
I think that's it. Again, we're just in like this weird period where we are the Switch 2 launches in T-minus 1 month, and so it just like everything it feels like is being held for that launch day.
Totally.
All right, Mark, let's get out of the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, when a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I'll talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, you and I went to the movies this weekend. We saw a little movie called just Thunderbolts.
Just Thunderbolts.
Asterisk.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit here. We're not going to go in like deep spoilers or anything here,
right?
But if you want to go into the movie like totally blank and haven't seen it yet, skip ahead. You know how long this segment is, roughly. But yeah, I mean, first of all, we just want to talk about like this thing that they like are changing the name of the movie,
right? So,
and are they actually changing the name of it?
So I think
you would just a marketing thing?
I think it's just a marketing thing. If you don't know what we're talking about today, on Monday when we're recording this, like earlier in the day, Marvel kind of took off the wraps, like, what does the asterisk at the end of Thunderbolts mean? And it's that actually they are, by the end of the movie, branded as the new Avengers.
Right. Which also, I saw a lot of like complaining that like, oh, Marvel's spoiling it for people, even though the movie's only been out for like 4 days. And like, that doesn't spoil the movie.
No. It is kind of funny to build your whole marketing campaign around like,
yes.
What does the asterisk mean? But but no, I think like you would still go to the movie theater and say, one for Thunderbolts, please.
Sure. I mean, you would probably buy the ticket online.
I think it'll like when it shows up on Disney Plus, or if you buy it digitally, I think it'll always be called like Thunderbolts.
When the Pirates of the Caribbean movies were in theaters, and I saw the first 3 of them all in theaters, and I always bought my ticket by asking for one to the pirate movie. Always. I made it a dumb point of pride to be like, one for the pirate movie.
Well, good thing that didn't that first one didn't cause a renaissance of pirate movies of all kind, because who knows what you would have ended up seeing.
Something else.
So one of I haven't seen a Marvel movie in theaters for quite some time, but I feel like one of the things that you've talked about previously with some of the more recent ones is you felt like that you could tell that when they were pitched, they had some like journey that they wanted to take the characters on, something to say.
Yes.
But then by the time the movies came out, it had been muddled down, edited out, like who knows what happened, and it kind of lost that thread.
Right. A lot of setups without payoffs, a lot of payoffs without setups. And I feel like in particular, the Marvels and Quantumania both like fall victim to this like really hard, to the point where both of those movies are like kind of disastrous. The Marvel's better than Quantumania, but like even still, it's just like a problem. And I think you can even really see it in like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, that there are like there's like a little bit of like Katie, was that Awkwafina's character's name?
I can't remember.
That like she's on this little bit of a journey of like she's not good at anything and has to like commit to like getting good at something, and then like it kind of happens in the background that she gets like super good at archery, but like it's not like the text of the movie. It's like it was text at some point and then it got edited out for something more exciting, which is always more boring. And anyway, Thunderbolts does not do that.
Yeah, I really liked Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was maybe like damning with faint praise, but like it had a point of view and a theme, and it expressed that theme well.
Yeah, it like followed through with it from beginning to end. It had something to say about it, and it said it.
Right.
And I like Elena a lot. I think that's a fun character.
Yep.
And like Bucky has been around, so like I like Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the characters I either had no thoughts about, like Ghost, or didn't really, or like Taskmaster, or didn't like the
US agent.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought all together they worked really well, and were like a lot of fun, and I did leave being like, I would want to see more of this team in the future.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly how I felt. And I think I maybe just because I like Wyatt Russell, that I think I like the U.S. agent character a little bit more in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Even if like the show's kind of disaster, especially by the end. This recording of 433 just stopped, so it's just
so I guess that's it.
That's it.
We liked it. We liked Thunderbolts. All
right, Mark. We were accompanied today by guitarist Phil Nell. Let's get into the news.
Last week, the Nintendo Switch firmware was updated to version 20.0.0, this was like the big update that Nintendo had promised to allow for virtual game cards, plus game sharing, and Switch 1 to Switch 2 like account transfers.
Right, which means they're like clearing the decks, they're like getting everything ready for Switch 2. I guess this also means that there are probably review units in the hands of outlets right now, right? That's probably why they Switch 1 to Switch 2 transfers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Live.
Yeah, very well could be. We're only a month away.
Yeah, we're only a month away. And yeah, so that was my thought. Is like this must mean that, IGN has their review copy right now. Yeah.
Of the Switch 2.
Yes, right.
Those are like the big updates, and we'll go through some of the specifics here. But one thing that I noticed wasn't on the list, but there was some talk about, is like they changed the color of the Nintendo eShop.
Yes, they sure did.
So it used to be orange, but now it is red. And the E on eShop used to have like 2 or 3 little like accent things coming off of them.
Yeah, it's the same thing that's like on the Amiibo. Yeah.
And
those are gone.
That has been removed, and so the eShop is now red.
An ominous portent for Amiibo.
Oh, you think Amiibo is also going to get rebranded?
I don't know if it's
without the
I'm just saying
Amiibo is also going to lose the little colorful accents.
Or is it that the influence of Amiibo has now been erased from that because they're phasing Amiibo out?
Well, I mean, they just
I
there
know.
are there are no. I think it's further like um for whatever reason, whether it's like legal, like copyright stuff or just whatever.
Right.
I think it's further kind of like removing the whimsy from Nintendo that they just
Yes.
seem a little bit like that just seems the course of things right now that they are just removing
Sure.
those little unnecessary personality marks.
Right, that everything is just sort of like deviating to the mean here and like
Yes.
just becoming a little bit more standardized. By the way, a little amiibo update. Yonobo still not available for pre-order anywhere.
Okay, so I saw that because obviously on Thursday, right, May 18th is when the first wave of Nintendo of America um like emails will be going out to people who signed up
Yes,
to purchase through Nintendo.
which is this week.
Yeah.
Exciting.
This Thursday. But on those pre-orders are already open in Japan.
Mm.
And people who have been going through that flow have noted that you can pre-order basically everything. Like including Amiibo. Amiibo are part of
Interesting.
that like pre-order flow. I don't know that it'll be the same here, but so it'll be interesting to find out if it's like, yeah, you also have the opportunity to pre-order Amiibo, and if you do, will Yonobo be part of that?
Great, love it. We do know that you will have the opportunity as you are pre-ordering your Switch 2 to also pre-order the GameCube controller.
Yes.
If you are selected in that same window.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it stands to reason that like other accessories would be.
Yeah, the
up for
Japanese
grabs,
pre-order,
yeah.
it's like all the accessories,
Uh-huh.
except they were sold out of the Pro controller apparently
Interesting.
already when the person was doing theirs.
Huh.
But yeah, I don't know, just something of note.
So you mentioned the change of color to the eShop icon, in addition to like it looking a little different. They did a handful of updates to the like the standard character like icons that you can use for your player profile. Not the ones that are connected to a specific game that you spent like platinum points to like get access to, but those that are just sort of like the base set that everyone can use. And like it was little changes to like Mario and Luigi, and some of them are showing a little bit more teeth in their smile, or like the colors are just slightly different. But the big change is our boy Donkey Kong.
Yeah, they are like seemingly just going through and wiping old design Donkey Kong from existence and replacing it with new design Donkey Kong.
Right, which is fun. Like if you had a profile pic from Tropical Freeze or from Country Returns HD, that is obviously unchanged, right?
Right.
It's just this default
one.
Yeah.
I am not really complaining because I like new Donkey Kong
I like
a lot
the new
more
Donkey Kong
than
too.
Old Donkey Kong. When you see them side by side, new Donkey Kong's fun.
Yeah, and like it also made me realize how like angry old Donkey Kong was.
So I was getting his banana stolen.
I mean, I guess, but like he started it. He's like kidnapping people and.
One other thing with the eShop is that they also made some changes to like bestsellers. It's now,
Yes.
like based on like
revenue over the last 2 weeks. Yes.
No, it's not even 2 weeks anymore. It's like 72 hours or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a shorter time and it's based on revenue. And I think, seemingly the goal was to remove games that were on sale for like 99 cents.
Right.
To try to kind of remove the cruft from like what would pop up in bestsellers. And apparently they also reordered how Great Deals is displayed as well to try to deprioritize just like the trash games that go on sale.
I mean, and that is interesting that they are like finally taking a swing at curating their massive eShop that I've expressed concern on the show before that like in the changeover to Switch 2 we're not going to get like a new eShop. We're going to have to live in the mess that we've lived in for the last 8 years. And so it's nice that they're like tending to that garden a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, because I do think that what we're seeing now is going to be the eShop on Switch 2.
I do think that's
and so
right. Yeah.
not going to. It doesn't seem like it's going to change that much. But yes, it is nice that they are at least making some changes to it. Okay, let's get into the like getting ready for Switch 2 stuff.
Yes.
Virtual game card. This is that thing that Nintendo showed off where purchased Nintendo Switch digital software, DLC, and some free software are now virtual game cards and displayed in a list in this menu. And this is where you can like virtually load and eject and share these between two Nintendo Switch systems.
And interesting, and I feel like something that we had not known about previously, that you could do this with DLC. Right. So
right.
That if you wanted to share your virtual game card with someone else on your account, like that virtual game card could be the Octo expansion for Splatoon 2 or any other DLC, and send that along, which is an interesting little wrinkle.
Yeah, it is interesting. And then the other thing that changed, because virtual game cards are still for now optional. You can go in and like opt to use the old system and not use virtual game cards. But one thing that did change with the old system, whether you opt into virtual game cards or not, is that previously if you had two Nintendo Switches that were both like, one has to be your primary and one has to be your secondary, but if they were both online at the same time, that you could play an online game together. Right. So, like, I could give you my secondary Switch. We could both go online, play Splatoon online together using, that is, like, one copy of the game being used at 2 times. And that is no longer an option.
They no longer let you do that.
They no longer let you do that.
Which, I gotta say, that did kind of seem like an oversight.
Apparently, it was in like the Nintendo of America FAQ as like a thing that you can do. So it was officially acknowledged at the time.
Geez.
They've just obviously changed their mind for one reason or another, that in the new world they don't want that to happen anymore.
That does suck a little bit.
To take a feature away like that.
Yeah, especially if it's a feature that like it wasn't like a workaround that people figured out. It was like a feature that you were talking about in like official materials.
Right. And I don't know that it was ever clear if it was intentional or if it was just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, where they didn't have a way around it.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, if you are like a family or your friends or something and you have been like for these past 8-9 years, sharing with your kids or your friends, one copy of a game, being able to play online together, and then suddenly they take that away. That is like, that would be really disappointing.
Yeah, and I guess like the workaround for that is the GameShare feature that's like the next item on the list, right?
Yes. So with GameShare, like they showed off in the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, compatible games can be shared from a Switch 2 system to other nearby systems to play, or online if it's two Nintendo Switch 2 systems.
Right, from one Nintendo Switch 2 to another Nintendo Switch 2.
The thing that's cool about this is that it will work from a Switch 2 down to a Switch 1.
Yes.
Is possible locally.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
But for a limited number of games, right? Like
yes.
The sort of workaround that we were just talking about was just a universal thing that you could always do. So first party, third party was just like it just worked that way.
Yep.
And this, like, you need to wait for Nintendo to put something on, like, the GameShare. And it was, to start, it was a pretty minimal list, right?
Yeah, I can't remember which ones were included, but it was just a handful.
Yeah.
So I feel like
that's the big stuff.
The big stuff. There was, for some users, when you tried to update the system, that you would not be able to, like the system wouldn't boot anymore.
Right.
Nintendo released a new firmware update for that, 20.0.1, over the weekend. You have to get it into safety mode if this has happened to you, but you would know, and you have probably already looked up how to fix it.
Very good.
Let's see.
Is there anything else in the updates? I feel like that's kind of
I don't think so. I feel like that's the big stuff. Really was kind of like a getting ready for Switch 2 update.
Absolutely.
Hey, do you remember Genki?
Oh, yeah.
who at CES 2025 was talking all about how they had a Switch, they had seen a Switch 2 and they had a 3D model of a Switch 2, and that's how that they were able to make their accessories for a system that hadn't been officially revealed yet.
Yes. And in so doing, effectively revealed what they believe to be the actual like look and measurements of the Nintendo Switch 2 to the world.
Yes.
Before Nintendo could.
And also got quite a bit of publicity for themselves. Turns out that Nintendo not super happy about that.
Yeah, no. In fact, Nintendo is suing them. And it's interesting that like the sort of crux of the lawsuit seems to be that Genki is promising that their accessories are compatible with the system, despite the fact that they've never had access to, or had not to that point had access to an actual like Switch 2 model. So they were making promises about compatibility that they couldn't actually make, unless they had gotten Switch 2 through like extra legal means.
Right.
So, like, it's unclear exactly what Nintendo wants to get out of suing them, other than to like scare anyone away from doing this.
Yeah.
Again, I guess that's it.
I guess that's probably it. That's the motive. Okay. Do you remember in Arrested Development, what did the grandkids call
your crook, Captain Hook? No, what the grandkids call what?
Jessica Walter's character.
Oh,
wasn't it like
I was about to say Mima, but that's not right.
No, it's something with a G.
Genki.
Yes,
they call her Genki. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe that's where Genki got their name?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. The Switch 2... Okay, here we go. The Switch 2 compatibility notes for...
Oh, you got them too. Okay. No. Sorry. I looked up the GameShare.
Oh, okay.
So they're starting with Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, and then with more in the future. Unclear if these the other games listed here are part of that in the future, or are also launching day and date. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario Odyssey, Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, and that's and then select Switch 2 exclusive games. So, and we don't know what those are yet.
Probably not Mario Kart World, right?
Probably not. But maybe.
I feel like we would know.
We would probably know.
It feels like they are going to be of the caliber of like Clubhouse games. Right?
But
if this is any indication.
Like Super Mario Odyssey is in there.
Yeah.
And Super Mario 3D World, a game that in particular you would want to play multiplayer. I don't know why you would do GameShare with Super Mario Odyssey. I guess it has the 2-player mode, but like,
right.
Yeah, it's I mean, Kart would be a good if they did, but okay, if they were planning that, why wouldn't they publicize that?
Right. And it just seems like such a big exclusive for the Switch 2. Yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. Or maybe just because it isn't at launch doesn't mean it couldn't have that functionality added in the future.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, like, GameShare requires like the person to be actively sharing the game with you. I have no idea if this sneeze is even picked up on mic. It wouldn't have even happened probably if I hadn't said bless you. But like if they're just banking on the idea that like you share Mario Kart World with someone and like they're gonna have such a fun time that they're gonna want to buy it on their own. That's why you're buying Switch 2 is like to get access to Mario Kart World anyway. So
yeah.
Maybe they don't care.
Okay. The compatibility notes for everybody 1-2 Switch. Man, you even wrote it out and I messed that up.
Yeah.
The Switch 2 compatibility notes for everybody 1-2 Switch have revealed a new feature of the Joy-Con 2. Namely, they vibrate more quietly than the original Joy-Con.
So, just the context here. That there are a bunch of, we assume that all Switch 1 games are going to work on Switch 2. They don't all, and sometimes they work just a little bit differently because the hardware is a little different, the software is a little different, whatever. And this one for everybody 1-2 Switch is revealing that the Joy-Con 2 vibrate a little bit softer.
Yeah, specifically it says, quote, the volume of the Joy-Con 2 controller's force feedback vibrations has been reduced compared to the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con controllers, so it may be more difficult to find hidden Joy-Con 2 in the minigame Joy-Con Hide and Seek.
Now, you and I did play Joy-Con Hide and Seek in our one game play session of Everybody 1, 2, Switch.
Oh, I don't remember
You're
that.
glancing around the room like you don't remember, but
I
you
don't.
do.
No, the one I remember doing is like matching color.
Yes.
That's the one I remember the
We did
most.
also do that, yes. But yeah, there's like there's a game where you just like hide the Joy-Con in the room somewhere, and then it vibrates, and so you have to find it. So does this mean that like the haptic feedback is just as intense but less loud somehow?
Yeah, that's a good question because, like playing Okami or really any game in handheld mode, sometimes the like vibration when a mountain is growing out, like a tree is growing out of
Right.
it's just too much.
Well, yes, and this is I feel like a problem with games that weren't designed with HD Rumble in mind, where it's like they just have an on and an off mode, and on is like turned all the way up, and off is turned all the way off. And it's like no. They did a whole thing about it being subtle, and you could tell how many rocks are in it or whatever. But yeah, I absolutely find that usually when I'm playing third-party games, that like the Switch is just like vibrating out of my hands, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point. Like, will it still be as forceful, but not as loud?
Somehow.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? Like, how could it not be? Like, if it's still just like shaking around, like, will we be able to? I guess we already know that Labo is not
right.
Not going to be compatible with Switch 2.
Well, maybe it's the thing that's shaking around is not as loud. Right? Because the noise is primarily coming from whatever motor is in it to make it
right. But is it not that the like it's shaking around? So like whatever it's hitting up against, including like the body of the Switch, that's still going to be loud, right?
Well, yes, but
if you held in place by magnets.
But if you reduce
yes,
like the sound of whatever it is that is the little motors or whatever that is causing it to vibrate, then you may still have the sound of it hitting the Switch or the components or whatever, but that would still be a reduced sound.
Yeah, sure. I buy that. Maybe they're covering the marbles with like little felt.
Yeah, that's right.
Marbles in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what they promised with the Switch 1 reveal? We'll never know. But what we will know is that the vibration is quieter.
A little bit quieter.
One way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, the Louvre, the famous museum in Paris, France, announced that they will be removing their 3DS guides in September of this year. So this was a partnership that Nintendo had during the 3DS era, where you could buy like the digital guide as a 3DS cart, and I think you could also
rent a 3DS for sure.
3DS from like the Louvre gift shop and use it as your guide through the museum.
Now, was it just a like an audio like visual thing, or did it also have like an AR component? Do we know?
I don't know.
I've never talked to anyone that has used this thing, and it's fascinated me because like, what a strange partnership. How did this happen? Why is it the only museum that Nintendo did this with? I'm all questions.
Yeah, and sadly, we won't have an opportunity to experience it for ourselves because, again, September of this year, they will be officially ending the program.
Do you think that they will then move on to a Switch 2 Louvre tour?
No, I'm sad to say I don't.
Probably done.
I think this is an initiative like the little colorful accents to the E and E shop that is coming to an end.
Is there a museum that you wish Nintendo would have done a partnership with 3DS?
The Nintendo Museum, of course.
The Nintendo Museum, they absolutely should have done that. That is a great answer. Maybe the Academy Museum, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
I guess there are a lot of other answers that could be like a little bit more like like sensitive or like some like a museum of atrocities or something like that.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
But I'm not going to make that kind of joke, Mark.
No, that's not the kind of show this is.
All right, let's close this out. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Thank you so much for listening. If you are not already in our Discord, you should email us. We'll send you an invitation. You can get in there and chat with us about Nintendo. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.